When cuteness kills. Have you ever thought a viral critter could wreck conservation? Stick around to see how a baby hippo's cuteness sparked real harm. Mu Deng was born on July 10, 2024, at Thailand's Khao Kaiao Open Zoo. From her first wobbly steps, this tiny pygmy hippo melted hearts online. Her name, meaning bouncy pork, was chosen by viewers in a social media poll. Within days, videos of her playful yawns and chubby cheeks flooded TikTok and Instagram feeds. Like if you've ever fallen for an adorable animal online. Zoo attendance doubled almost overnight as crowds lined up to see the teddy bear hippo for themselves. But beneath the selfies lies a darker trade-off many conservationists rarely discuss. As visitors pressed against her enclosure, staff logged multiple stress incidents. Flashbulbs popped with every camera click. Mu Deng paced frantically and even refused food at times. The zoo had to add thicker fences and set no photo hours to calm her nerves, yet the damage was done. Viral fame had eclipsed steady work to protect her endangered cousins. The real cost came in dollars. The zoo sold themed plushies, cupcakes, and even makeup tutorials inspired by her rosy hide. Sales figures soared into the tens of thousands of dollars. Yet only about 1% of that income went back into field studies for wild pygmy hippos. The rest covered staff salaries and exhibit upgrades. Conservation groups warn this adorability economy skews donations toward the flashiest face, leaving vital projects underfunded. Across West Africa, local pygmy hippo populations still struggle. Anti-poaching patrols face budget cuts. Habitat restoration stalls as donors chase trends. Field biologists report that community conservation funding dropped by 40% last quarter after Mu Deng's launch. Meanwhile, fewer than 2,000 pygmy hippos remain in the wild. But just when it seems viral fame might spark genuine support, a twist emerges. Leaked administrative memos reveal budgets for less glamorous conservation efforts were slashed by nearly half. Managers cited shifting donor priorities following the hippo's viral debut. Reforestation workshops and ranger training programs lost critical funding. The same organization that celebrated one photogenic youngster quietly cut care for dozens of at-risk species, from obscure birds to freshwater turtles. It turns out that turning wildlife into a brand can hollow out the heart of conservation. Viral fame shines a spotlight, but that light can blind us to deeper needs. While Mu Deng's charm has opened eyes to wildlife, it has also warped economic incentives and distracted from long-term ecosystem health. The digital applause that crowns one captivating animal risks turning every conservation conversation into a competition of cute. Next, we'll see how turning wildlife into brands leaves many species behind. When commercialization outshines genuine care, who really wins? Mu Deng merch is everywhere, but why are real endangered hippos left behind? Zookeepers at Thailand's Khao Kaiao Open Zoo couldn't restock fast enough after Mu Deng's viral debut. Within days, hippo-shaped plushies, cupcakes tinted pink, and makeup tutorials inspired by her rosy hue flew off the shelves. The gift shop reported selling over 10,000 items in the first month alone, a huge wave of interest that seemed to promise big returns for conservation. But this buzz betrayed a deeper problem. Most of that cash never made it back to the wild hippos who desperately need it. That slick adorability economy masks a glaring imbalance. Of the $400,000 generated by merchandise this year, just 0.5%, or about $2,000, found its way into genuine pygmy hippo conservation programs in West Africa. The rest padded zoo maintenance budgets, paid for exhibit renovations, and funded marketing campaigns. When fans assume their purchases directly support anti-poaching patrols or habitat restoration, they're missing the real story. The vast majority of those dollars go towards sustaining the viral star's enclosure, not the species as a whole. Why does this matter? Field biologists warn that donor attention is fleeting. As Dr. Surya Chanthawong explains, people rally around a cute face, but once the trend fades, they move on to the next viral sensation. Sure enough, reforestation projects along riverbanks, critical for wild pygmy hippo survival, saw an 18% budget cut this year as funds shifted toward merchandise-driven appeals. Those riverbanks won't heal themselves, and without sustained investment, hippo populations may never recover. A second tension emerges when we examine how merchandise skews public perception of what conservation looks like. If cuteness equals worthiness, less charismatic species suffer. The World Wildlife Fund reports that over 70% of private donations funnel to the big five or viral stars, leaving more than 80% of endangered species chronically underfunded. Forest elephants, pangolins and freshwater turtles struggle to compete with pink cupcakes and plush hippos for donor dollars. When conservation success is measured by trending hashtags rather than species survival rates, entire ecosystems pay the price. A third, the zoo's own promotional machine can amplify these distortions. Press releases trumpet record attendance numbers and exclusive Moodung plushie bundles as holiday gift ideas. Emails tease limited edition hippo cupcakes and VIP photo op experiences. Each campaign drives foot traffic and social media engagement, but it also buries announcements about grants for community-led wildlife corridors or volunteer training programs. Visitors leave clutching stuffed hippos, not with a deeper understanding of why these animals are vanishing in the wild. Just when it seems this merch mania might spark real awareness, a startling twist emerges. Leaked financial statements reveal that only $5,000 of that $400,000 went to actual habitat protection efforts this year. The remainder underwrites staff salaries, marketing expenses, and exhibit upgrades designed to fuel the next viral moment. In effect, the adorable face of conservation has been repurposed into a branding tool, one that benefits the zoo's bottom line far more than the species it claims to champion. This revelation reframes branded wildlife as more than a cute marketing gimmick. It becomes a cautionary tale about how commercialization can hollow out the very purpose of conservation. Viral fame and merchandise booms can spark initial interest, but they risk masking systemic challenges that threaten these animals' survival. Without transparent revenue allocation and dedicated support for field programs, the funds raised by plushies and pastries may simply prop up an institution's image rather than secure meaningful, long-term protection. If you're surprised by this split between fan spending and real-world impact, hit like now and share in the comments whether you've ever assumed that buying souvenir merch automatically saves wildlife. Coming up, Pesto's extraordinary growth raises a chilling question. Are we breeding animals that can no longer live in the wild? Penguin experiment. Pesto's 25 fish a day fame sparks a chilling question. Are we breeding animals that can't survive on their own? Pesto hatched at Sea Life Melbourne Aquarium on January 30th, 2024, weighing just 200 grams, barely the size of a newborn chick. Yet by 9 months he ballooned to 22.5 kilograms. Visitors couldn't resist the sight of this fluffy, oversized king penguin chick waddling around with his comical frame. Videos of Pesto devouring fish after fish racked up over 1.9 billion views, turning him into an international sensation overnight. Right here on Eco Era, we celebrate the wonder of wildlife, but we also dig deeper to ask the hard questions. But this feeding triumph hints at a hidden dilemma. When we hand-feed captive animals, we may be erasing the very skills they need to survive in the wild. If Pesto learns to wait for dinner instead of hunting for it, can he ever thrive beyond the aquarium tank? This foreshadowed conflict will reveal how good intentions can backfire. First, Pesto devours an astonishing 25 fish every single day, more than his own body weight each week. Trainers fill bucket after bucket with sardines, herring and mackerel, guiding Pesto through a frenzy that lasts for minutes at a time. Behind the scenes, aquarists log every mouthful to monitor his health. Yet this routine raises an alarming concern. A wild king penguin chick learns to hunt by trial and error, honing instincts through repeated dives and escapes. Pesto, in contrast, knows only to expect dinner on demand. Comment below if you'd survive 25 fish a day. Second, the penguin's foster parents simply can't keep pace with his colossal appetite. 2 adult king penguins attempted to care for him, but even they couldn't match his voracious demand. Staff members had to step in, ordering over 24 kilograms of fish each week, enough to feed a small colony, not one growing giant. This constant hand-feeding forges a strong bond between Pesto and humans, but it also cements his dependence. When trainers warn that Pesto might never recognize a live fish darting underwater, it becomes clear his size is only half the problem. Third, marine biologists caution that such rapid growth may hinder Pesto's ability to fish in the wild. An overweight penguin can't dive as deeply or swim as swiftly as its leaner counterparts. In the icy Southern Ocean, prey species scatter at the first sign of a predator. A clumsy, heavy penguin risks missing meals entirely. Dr. Emily Stanton of the University of Tasmania notes, Pesto's bulk makes him less agile in cold, fast-moving waters. His energy will be spent just keeping afloat. If Pesto ever leaves the tank, he may find the ocean less forgiving than his aquarium home. Just when it seems this feeding saga might be a harmless quirk of captivity, a startling twist emerges. Recent genetic tests reveal that Pesto carries a rare growth mutation, never documented in any wild king penguin population. Scientists discovered a single gene tweak, likely amplified by selective breeding and overfeeding in captivity, driving his record-breaking size. This mutation could make him even more reliant on constant high-calorie meals, an unnatural trait wild penguins simply don't possess. In effect, Pesto isn't just a big penguin. He's a new strain unlikely to survive outside human care. A feeding frenzy cured his pudginess, but may have clipped his wings for good. Pesto's mutant gene and our well-meaning care created a crowd-pleasing giant, yet they also distanced him from the instincts he needs in nature. His oversized body and lack of hunting practice could doom any attempt to rewild him. What began as a feel-good viral hit has transformed into a cautionary tale about artificial selection in captivity, how the drive to please visitors can inadvertently rewrite an animal's genetic script. Coming up, we'll examine a crocodile's suffering that mirrors a wider ecological collapse. If today's chapter made you rethink how we feed and manage captive wildlife, hit like and share your thoughts below. Your voice can help shape better conservation practices. That viral croc footage isn't just cruelty, it's a haunting mirror of ecosystems collapsing. In December 2024, a grainy smartphone video of a skeletal crocodile at Guangzhou Zoo spread like wildfire, racking up over 50 million views in days. Viewers recoiled as its ribs protruded through cracked scales and once powerful jaws sagged from malnutrition. I couldn't unsee that hollow eye. But this isn't merely a story of one neglected animal, it's a reflection of a planet in distress. This single clip reveals more about our planet's health than we ever bargained for. Internal documents leaked 2 months later exposed a 30% cut to reptile care budgets earlier that year, justified as operational realignments amid falling ticket sales. Routine health checks were delayed, water quality tests reduced, and enrichment programs cancelled. Veterinary logs chronicle missed feedings and cloudy pools, while keepers pleaded for basic supplies. In effect, the institution charged with protecting wildlife had mirrored the very neglect it condemns in the wild. Just like the starving croc, wild crocodilian populations face parallel pressures. The International Union for Conservation of Nature reports a 25% decline in many species over the past decade, driven by habitat destruction, illegal hunting, and polluted waterways. Rivers once teeming with these apex predators now run shallow or vanish under dams. Wetlands are drained for farms and factories, choking life at its source. When a zoo enclosure becomes a site of starvation, it echoes a far larger tragedy unfolding across wild landscapes. Public outrage surged under the hashtag #SaveTheCroc, peaking within 72 hours, but then it faded. Online petitions calling for stricter welfare laws gathered only 15,000 signatures, far short of the 100,000 needed to trigger a review in China's National People's Congress. Social media storms offered hope for accountability, yet no meaningful policy changes followed. The viral moment slipped away, leaving the systemic crisis unaddressed and the crocodile's suffering a forgotten spectacle. How many more species will vanish before we act? Just when it seems outrage might force real change, a startling twist emerges. Leaked budget forecasts reveal that money saved from cutting reptile care was funneled into a new immersive shark tunnel exhibit. Funds that could have paid for fresh food, clean water systems, and veterinary staff instead underwrote the next viral attraction and gift shop surge. Entertainment value trumped animal welfare yet again. That revelation reframes the crocodile's hollowed form as emblematic of a global ecocide. When institutions prioritize short-term spectacle over long-term stewardship, they mirror the same forces devastating habitats worldwide: unchecked development, resource extraction, and nature's commodification. This crocodile's suffering isn't a one-off tragedy, it's a symptom of our broader failure to care for living ecosystems. It turns out that neglect in captivity and collapse in the wild share the same root, a worldview that sees nature as disposable. Every cost-cutting memo and every drained wetland whisper the same message: profit first, planet second. If we can't ensure basic care for one crocodile in a controlled environment, how can we hope to safeguard vast, interdependent wetlands teetering on the brink? Share if you stood up for #SaveTheCroc, and demand better for the countless creatures whose stories never go viral. Then a painting penguin asks, are we rewarding art over action? Marley's paintings tug at heartstrings, but is performance overshadowing real protection? Hit like if you think animals shouldn't perform for us. Marley, a 21-year-old northern rockhopper penguin at Moody Gardens in Texas, first dipped her flippers into paint 5 years ago as part of an enrichment program designed to stimulate her natural curiosity and provide mental engagement. Since then, her colorful footprints on canvas have sold at auction for up to $500 apiece, drawing families eager to own a piece of wildlife art. One child wept tears of joy when Marley's bright blue strokes emerged on the canvas, believing she was part of something magical. Yet this heartwarming spectacle masks a deeper tension between entertainment and genuine conservation action. It's heartwarming. Yet something about this performance leaves experts uneasy. When a single painting can fetch hundreds of dollars, it begs the question, are we applauding artistic enrichment or inadvertently turning a living creature into a public showcase? Funds Fuel exhibit upgrades more than field programs. Marley's masterpieces generate roughly $100,000 in annual revenue, but Moody Gardens reports that 90% of art sale proceeds cover exhibit maintenance, staff salaries, and supply costs. That leaves only 10%, about $10,000, allocated to rockhopper rescue and habitat protection. Critics warn this split fails to advance real-world conservation. A $500 painting contributes just $50 to efforts combating overfishing and pollution on sub-Antarctic islands where wild rockhopper populations face rapid decline. Enrichment can strain the very animals it intends to help. The penguin welfare study recorded elevated stress hormones in Marley on painting days, noting she sometimes refused meals or retreated to a secluded corner of her enclosure after painting sessions. Observers saw her flippers tremble when the paint first appeared, and she would pause on the canvas as if startled by her own creativity. What began as mental stimulation risks becoming an exploitative performance, one that prioritizes visitor engagement over true animal welfare. Critics warn that enrichment becomes entertainment. Conservation expert Dr. Jane Dunn argues, when animals must perform to earn our support, we risk valuing spectacle over survival. By spotlighting Marley's artistic talent, we may send the message that only the most charismatic or talented species deserve our attention and funding. Meanwhile, countless less flashy creatures, forest-dwelling owls, freshwater turtles, rare insects, struggle in obscurity, their survival hinged on far less glamorous efforts. Just when it seems Marley's art might represent a perfect fusion of education and advocacy, a startling twist emerges. Internal budget leaks reveal that only a fraction of her art profits ever reach field programs. Most funds underwrite exhibit renovations, new digital signage, and gift shop expansions, features designed to draw more visitors and boost merchandise sales. Headlines tout penguin Picasso paints for the planet. But insiders confirm that upgrades include themed snacks, selfie stations, and landscaping around the exhibit, rather than direct support for wild colonies. That revelation reframes Marley's creative endeavors as emblematic of eco-performative conservation. We ask animals to entertain us so we, and sponsors, feel good about conservation. Yet the real work of habitat restoration, policy change, and community engagement remains underfunded and overlooked. Marley's flipper strokes may grace canvases around the world, but wild rockhopper numbers have declined by 18% over the last decade due to climate change and overfishing. The spectacle distracts from the urgent, unglamorous tasks that offer genuine hope for these species. Marley's masterpieces fuel exhibit upgrades, but the wild species she represents remain largely unprotected. True conservation success will not come from viral videos or art auctions alone. It demands sustained investment in marine protected areas, enforcement of sustainable fishing agreements, and local community education programs, initiatives that rarely produce viral moments but yield lasting ecological impact. By rewarding performance over protection, we risk sidestepping the systemic changes these animals truly need. When we applaud painted penguins, are we advancing conservation or simply perpetuating an entertainment cycle that favors the marketable? If you believe conservation should demand more than a colorful canvas, leave a comment with your ideas for meaningful action. Coming up, Bowie's Uber rides reveal a new threat to animal autonomy and the future of urban wildlife. Urban encroachment, it's a term we hear often, but what does it really mean? Well, in simple terms, it's the expansion of urban areas into the surrounding rural areas. This phenomenon is, driven by a variety of factors such as population growth, economic development, and the demand for housing and infrastructure. Now, while urban growth can bring about economic benefits and improved living standards, it also comes with its own set of challenges. One major issue is the loss of agricultural land, which can impact food production and biodiversity. Additionally, urban encroachment can lead to increased pollution, traffic congestion, and strain on public services. It's a complex issue that requires careful planning and sustainable development practices. By balancing growth with the preservation of natural and rural areas, we can, hopefully, create urban environments that are both thriving and sustainable for future generations. Bowie's Uber rides show our wild neighbors going mainstream, revealing a new threat to animal autonomy. Bowie, a rescue dog from Colorado, first hopped into the passenger seat of Uber driver Kevin Furman's car in early 2024, delighting riders with his calm tail wags and friendly sniffs. Their TikTok account now boasts over 140,000 followers, and one clip of Bowie exploring city landmarks has racked up more than 8 million views. Fans can't resist this four-legged co-pilot, but beneath the feel-good footage lies a troubling shift in how wildlife adapts to human spaces. Adorable as it seems, Bowie's fame foreshadows a serious change. Animals are losing the instincts that keep them safe and preserve urban ecosystems. When we invite wild creatures into our cars, sidewalks, and backyards, we risk rewriting their very nature. Soon, city streets become training grounds for new behaviors that thrive on human generosity but falter outside our doorsteps. In the months after Bowie's videos went viral, urban wildlife sightings in Denver surged by 20%, according to the Denver Urban Wildlife Coalition. Residents reported feeding crows, raccoons, and even foxes in neighborhoods where Bowie's adventures were trending. Social media geotags mapped feeding hotspots from Capitol Hill to Aurora, drawing wildlife into busy residential zones in search of handouts. Rather than foraging for natural foods, animals learned to look for snack scraps and hand-fed treats, tying their survival to our city routines. This growing familiarity has come at a steep cost. Animals lose their natural wariness of cars and humans, leading to more traffic incidents. The Colorado Department of Transportation recorded a 15% uptick in wildlife vehicle collisions on Denver's main thoroughfares in 2024. Drivers swerved to avoid deer, raccoons, and coyotes that no longer fled at the sound of approaching vehicles. Horns and brake lights replaced the animals' wild flight instincts, putting both people and wildlife in danger. Have you ever narrowly avoided an animal in the road? Hit like if you have. Meanwhile, the balance of urban ecosystems tipped as scavenger species boomed. Researchers at the University of Colorado found a 30% rise in raccoon populations in Denver parks, outpacing historical averages by nearly half. Raccoons raided trash cans, displacing squirrels and songbirds from nesting areas. Once shy predators became bold, and their expanding numbers forced smaller species into marginal green spaces. Over time, this unchecked growth can disrupt plant regeneration, soil health, and the delicate food webs that sustain city wildlife. Just when it seems these shifts might be one-off quirks of viral fame, a startling twist emerges. City data links rising traffic fatalities of urban wildlife directly to the feeding trends documented on social media. Neighborhoods tagged with hashtags like #UberDogDenver saw wildlife vehicle collisions climb by 25% compared to control areas. In effect, the same viral videos that bred sweet moments with Bowie also helped map deadly traps for animals unprepared for city traffic. Our four-legged friend's popularity reveals a sobering truth. Urban wildlife is not built for life in our streets and cars. As animals blur the line between pet and pest, they lose the instincts honed over millennia in forests, plains, and wetlands. When trust in humans replaces fear of humans, wildlife faces new perils. Snarled highways instead of open rivers, parking lot scraps instead of natural prey. The spectacle of Bowie riding shotgun masks a deeper crisis. These animals cannot thrive on viral likes and snack scraps alone. If this chapter opened your eyes, share your story below. Tell us your craziest urban wildlife encounter. Let's spark a conversation on how we can protect our wild neighbors without feeding them into harm's way. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, like, and share. Together, we can reshape urban wildlife policy and restore the balance between humans and the wild world at our doorstep.